The anthology film can be tricky to pull off as they run the risk of some segments working and others falling short, resulting in an inconsistent experience. If one story falls flat, then it increases the pressure for the next one to pick things up again. With Freaky Tales, directors-writers Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck attempt to present a series of wild stories set in 1987 Oakland, California. They go heavy on the style, but most of the stories disappointingly underwhelm, and it does not feel like we truly get to know the characters. Things do improve with the fourth and final segment, but it's a shame we have to sit through the other parts to get to it. The movie certainly leans heavily into the 80s aesthetic, with Boden and Fleck opting for something that might have played late at night on a cable channel. It's a noble idea, and there's some creativity in their direction at times, but the stories themselves don't quite pop. The weakest segments are the first two. One involves a couple punk youngsters who go up against neo-Nazis, and that had the potential to be really fun. However, the characters are one-dimensional with nothing standing out about them. The storyline also just sort of stops. The second segment, involving a couple of aspiring rappers, also does not do much to explore its characters, and similarly ends on a feeling of, that's it? The third story is a little better, with Pedro Pascal making a visit to a video rental place with a secret. That one has its moments, particularly a scene Pascal shares with the owner. The famous actor in that role especially seems to be enjoying himself. However, where the story eventually goes is not that interesting, and again ends on an underwhelming note. Things finally pick up for the fourth chapter, telling an exaggerated story about basketball player Sleepy Floyd. We get an engaging story full of absurd action, with Floyd taking revenge for botched robbery, and Jay Ellis plays the role very well. There is some solid humor here, and it does end in a satisfying way. This feels like where a lot of Freaky Tales has been building up to. The movie does try to tie all these segments together as characters cross paths with each other, and there is a connecting theme about fighting back against those who wrong you. However, maybe a bit more time could have been spent truly getting to know the characters in the other segments. The Quentin Tarantino influence is very evident here, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's difficult not to compare Freaky Tales to his work, especially Pulp Fiction. Freaky Tales attempts to bring a lot of energy to these individual stories, but only the last one really takes off. On the one hand, it's good that the film at least ends on a high note. However, it only highlights how disappointing the other segments are. Maybe a little extra screen time would have benefited the other storylines and allowed us to truly get to know the characters beyond simple archetypes. Although even the dialogue lacks that needed spark, so we're left with an anthology film that is certainly stylish and noble attempt to recreate the 80s, but does not offer much more than that.